Hi, Dan. Mr. Brown, I should say.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, good. How you doing, Stephanie?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Real good, real good.
The reason I wanted to interview you, I think you know why. Because one of the products that you guys have come up with is very popular right now, the face shield.
Yeah,
And also Junior is at the helm of it. And so I want to get sort of a perspective of a parent. Like, how does it feel having your one of your offspring follow in your footsteps and all that?
yeah. Well, obviously, parents, aspire to, having that kind of relationship with their kids, and it's a long journey as you raise kids. You're a new mom now, and
Mhm.
you're thinking about your child's future, and then you're going to be so active in it. I think I'm fortunate and grateful that I've had this experience. It's been a challenge, obviously, because the relationship you have, particularly in a business with a son or a daughter, versus your relationship as a parent, is a different relationship. But how can I say, there's a bleed over in the social climate. So my son would say things to me, and I would say things to him that you'd never say in a typical business relationship, unless you were really really close to that relationship. And so it can get heated at times, but it's always out of, I think, a position of trust and respect. But it's tough. So it's sort of interesting. Dan started working at Loggerhead. In fact, the reason I started that wrench, the story was a interaction I had with Dan when he was in high school. And then after he came out of college, I mean, he worked during college doing stuff that he could do over the internet and things, and he knew the business. And I started him out, working in customer service and working with the plant people, and then working in sales. And he sort of slowly worked his way up there. And I thought I would never do that, because I had seen some really negative situations in companies where kids came into the business. I ended up doing it anyway, so it was weird. But he provided me the opportunity to go and teach full time, because he was able to sort of step into my shoes at Loggerhead, which was nice. And put it in the context. You remember we went through the recession and everything back in 2000. We saw it started in 2007, 8, 9. Those are really tough times. And being an American-made startup company, and we had a good thing going, and then all of a sudden the economy just got bazookaed. We had a hard time, making things happen. And he, just coming out of school, being flexible, he was able to jump in there and really help us transition. And it was a bit of a baptism by fire, and then working and running in a business. And he stepped up and did a good job. And then, after we came out of that and had another, things started going well, then we went through and we had the knockoff situation with Sears, and that lawsuit that itself lasted 7 years. What was fortunate for me is I went back and got my master's when I was 50. I started lecturing at Northwestern, guest lecturing. Then I started as an adjunct doing a course in 2008. And then around 2010, after we got out of the recession and things were going good again, and Dan had matured into a role of working at Loggerhead, Northwestern offered me a full-time position, and I took it. So that situation really worked out to our benefit, in the sense that it was a good role for him, but also an opportunity for me to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to teach. I've been now working since 78. In fact, I graduated college in 78. I've been working and paying in Social Security since I was 13 years old. I got a consistent Social Security record. So I've been putting a lot of time in work, and I was looking for to follow more a passionate route, which was teaching for me. And having been an adjunct and trying it, putting my toe in the water, I realized I liked it. And so it sort of came together to where I was able to let him take over Loggerhead. And then I went full-time at Northwestern, but still involved in the company, but not as much on the day-to-day stuff.
How did you get your position at Northwestern? Like, was it they reached out to you first, or was this something you did on your own? You filled out an application to be an adjunct and then slowly become a full-time teacher?
No, so I got my master's at Northwestern, so people knew me. And I was 50 years old in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere around there. I was maybe 51. But at that time, I launched Loggerhead in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2005, 2006-ish. And so that launched, and it created a fair amount of notoriety. And there were professors there who were teaching various classes that knew me, asked me to come in and start just lecturing, guest lecturing. And that happens a lot in the universities. Mm-hmm. And so I did a lot of that. And then I was asked by Professor Ed Colgate
mm-hmm.
To work with them on a committee because they were bringing in a new master's program for students called EDI, Engineering, Design, Innovation. Mm-hmm. So I worked with him and a gentleman, Don Norman, and and a couple other people, and we sort of put this together. And then Ed said to me, he said, what else do you think is we need? And I described the class about how design and business creates value and competitive advantage in new markets, which is what I've been doing for, about 40 years. And he said, put together the course and let's look at it. And I did. And that was right around 2008 and maybe 2007. And then I think in 2008 was the first year I taught it. And so it was really the culmination of me, all the tacit knowledge I gained in industry, and then starting to get more understanding of the theoretical side of things and getting the academic credentials and getting my master's degree. I was able to be a professor with a master's degree because of my experience, but also in product development, that was considered a terminal degree here in the States. So, I made that transition. So it was just more of a collaborative effort that I fell in there, which I was very fortunate because it's a very difficult path to break into, say, a school like Northwestern at this late stage in my career. It's normally, you go through the traditional PhD. Then once I got in, things are going well. I was, fully engaged in teaching and enjoying it. I had, assessing the situation around me, I decided to go back and get my PhD. So as I went on Northwestern in 2011, I decided to go back, and I got my PhD in 2017 when I was 60. So I've sort of taken I tell people that I'm a hard worker but a slow learner. It took me a while to get the PhD, but it's been very gratifying for me to do that. Quite a challenge, though.
Do you have a memory of Junior when you knew that if you gave him the baton, that he was going to be able to run with it and really do a good job? Like, is there a proud moment? What's the proudest moment you've had about your son concerning the business?
Yeah, well, in Loggerhead, no, there was really no pass the baton moment. It just, we interacted and we did that. But with the Shield, I have to say, it really was a unique experience. So you fast forward after going through the evolution of the business relationship. And so last year, the whole situation with the coronavirus came up, and Junior was very much in tune on all that stuff very early in the process. And I was teaching and doing my thing, and he was like, there's going to be a shortage of PPE, we need to do something. And I was seeing it from the academic side. People were contacting me at Northwestern. Can we make shields on our rapid prototype machine? And I tell them, yeah, but we can't scale it. You can't make the millions that they think they're going to need. If you go back in that time, we had the ships in the harbor, and McCormick Place was turned into a triage center because they're expecting a lot of cases, and there would not even be enough PPE for people working in those critical areas. So I set about my design process, and I came up with this InstaShield, and basically, in order to, the challenge there was to have a face shield for sneeze and whatever, but it had to be one that you can make millions of quickly, and we accomplished that. And I did that by eliminating all the headgear that goes around your head. Everybody has baseball hats. I designed it to fit on a baseball hat. Ships flat, has an ability to be mass produced quickly, and we did that. And I guess the passing of the baton, at that time, we had to scale up and become a company and invest in tooling, and Dan's thinking, well, can we do this as a partnership? And I couldn't. I had my plates full at Northwestern. I looked at it back and forth, and I said, Dan, I just don't have the bandwidth to start a new business like this. Plus, I've got a lot of money still invested in Loggerhead, and it's just one of those things. And he stepped up and said he'll make that investment. He had, has done a good job of saving his money and stuff. And basically, he took the ball and ran with it from an entrepreneurial perspective. That while I'm involved and I get a royalty from him, this was his baby, so to speak, and he's done a great job with it. He just won an innovation award, and I'm really proud of it, because there's a transition in that relationship at that time to where you have a certain perspective in business, I think, when you're an employee, but you also have another perspective on top of that when you're risking your own capital. And he, while he had, saved his money and invested like everybody does for their retirement type thing, going off entrepreneurially is a big jump. And so he picked that up and created that company and put the team together, and went out there, and it's done very well. And I guess the pass the baton moment was this past a week ago on Monday, when he won an innovation award. InstaShield did, and I feel I'm very much part of that. But I think that the fact that he was able to take that great design and then make it happen, is a very proud moment for me. So, that a long answer to a short question.
That's okay. That's okay. With Loggerhead, what are you doing for Loggerhead to keep that going? Obviously, it's, as you've been saying, Loggerhead is right now, the demand is more for the shield, but what are some things that you're doing to keep Loggerhead?
Well, our base demand is there for Loggerhead. Our solid customers are reordering, but the COVID is really has an overall effect on that business. People aren't going into retail. We don't know what the Christmas season is going to look like. That's always been a big business for us. So Loggerhead is still moving along, but it's also at the vulnerability of everybody else in the marketplace. So I mean, our plant is doing everything they can to protect the people and keep them working, and I'm hoping people become more in tune to the value of American-made products for, just the distribution of economic growth throughout our own country and jobs. But like any other business, we have to be prudent, and we have to watch our costs, and we have to keep them low, and we have to, balance our cash flow and watch our inventory, and it's all the basic things we need to do to to run a reliable business. So we're doing the things we do every year, but also being probably extra cautious because of this coronavirus. So we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you don't know if there's going to be another big recession or whatever. From a business perspective, you got to make sure all your money's not tied up in inventory or receivables or that kind of thing, because you still have to pay the bills.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I really hope that I hope the best for both of your businesses, because I think you guys are both
Thanks.
great people.
Thank you.
And I love underdog stories, and I love that you were able to. I sense a fighting spirit between both of you. You guys fight for what's right, and you go hard. Whatever you do, you go hard at it, and it succeeds. And even though you're not at the level of like an Amazon or something humongous, I think time will tell, because I think Dan Jr. He's the future, and I think he's doing a great job with the Shield. And so I really hope that
Yeah,
vis-a-vis
we'd like to get an Amazon kind
yeah,
of break. Yeah.
but
You
vis-a-vis
know,
the loggerhead thing, maybe he, because one thing that I don't like giving unsolicited advice, but are you guys taking measures to plug loggerhead through the Shield? Like, is there an area on your website that you're saying you can check out our other products for help or something?
yeah,
And loggerhead's
we,
one of
we,
them.
we do it in the interviews or things that we talk to people on.
Anything new coming down the pike with the Shield that you would like people to know about? Like any new colors, anything
Yeah.
innovative?
Well, yeah, we're working on a construction version that goes on a construction helmet, and we're just sort of, Dan's spending a lot of time now, getting in deeper. I think what plays out in the coronavirus, I think the reality is that this thing is sticky and it's hanging around, and even though we're going to have hopefully the therapeutics that come out, there's going to be that protective equipment, particularly I think in situations when you deal with vulnerable populations like elderly, that's going to be there. So I sort of see a belt and suspenders approach. If you're going to see grandma, grandpa at Christmas, or visit them in a nursing home or anywhere, you're going to wear a mask and a shield because they're vulnerable. But it's times on the other end of the spectrum, someone who's healthy, like I wear my shield, I walk to my office, I don't wear a mask, I just wear the shield.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's that blended strategy. And I think more of that is going to play out in this overall situation. And what we're doing now is a bazillion shields out there in the marketplace. We're trying to, fight for market share, and because we fortunately have a good cost on our product, just get it out to the masses. One thing Dan did, which is very interesting. He, you have the play of building awareness in a market space of traditional advertising, et cetera. But Dan took the sort of the cause marketing approach, where he did this Million Shield Challenge, where
Yeah.
for every shield sold off the website, then he's donating them to people in the frontline workers or people at risk. And he's already, I think, donated 300,000 through various charitable organizations to get people shields like that, vulnerable populations. Like I think he's got a bunch going in the nursing homes and people working at frontline schools and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the more that wearing a face mask and a shield becomes a new norm from a common sense approach to stop spreading the virus, the more the base of the InstaShield business will grow, because we have a very comfortable, easy to use shield that's got a lot of versatility. And then, we don't want to plan on this, but if this were to take off and you needed millions of shields like we thought last February, the InstaShield can do it. We can make shields and get in mass production faster than any other design out there. And it's something that's done and ready to go. And we could scale up to make millions very quickly, tens of millions actually.
Yeah.
And so then, if that were the case, it's there. So we're just he's running a business. He's making sure people are getting paid.
Yeah.
As far as shields go, we introduced a child side shield. He's working on some new technology for anti-fogging materials, all those type of things. And then he's really making sure that the Million Shield Challenge is getting out there and getting into the right place. It's funny, you think about challenges. He didn't know think it would be so challenging to reliably and ethically distribute a lot of free stuff. But it is, you know, it's just the distribution of like PPE and giving things and donating them to make sure someone doesn't take thousands of shields and throw them on the internet and sell them against you and all that. That's a challenge. And so
Hey, Jeff, did you want to say hi?
that's what we're working at right now.
Jeff is here. He was working
Hey,
downstairs.
Hey
how you
there.
doing, Jeff? How's it going?
How's it going?
Congratulations
Going all
on the family.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, our little one, I guess is she still sleeping still?
She woke up. Has her bottle.
Oh, okay. So she's, in her wake up
Yeah,
sequence right
yeah.
now.
Well,
Oh.
you know, you're unique thing in life. You guys are working, but you're still at home to be with the baby. I mean, my daughter's doing the same thing. I have a second grandchild, and you know, she's just, though this coronavirus is crazy, I think there's a lot of very young children that are get more nurturing than under the normal circumstances.
True. Yeah. We didn't have to worry about what do you call getting babysitter or whatnot.
Right, childcare and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh, I have one last question.
Yep.
What was the inspiration for InstaShield? Was it that the people that were making maybe loggerhead tools were using something similar, or did you see it somewhere else?
No, so as I was telling you, so I'm a full professor at Northwestern, and here there's shops and we have facilities to build things. It's my thing, and the people from the medical schools and stuff were contacting us because they were afraid they were not going to have enough PPE. So that demand was there. And then we saw Dan was, all this other stuff on TV. I looked at it and understood that the reality of making PPE through rapid prototype or whatever, it's impossible to scale. You can't make hundreds of millions of those things. You have to wait to make the tooling. When you decompose the problem, the root of the problem is around your head is that contraption that you have that holds that shield appropriately at your head. And I looked at it and thought, how could I, from a lean design perspective, get these things mass produced quickly? And when I realized if I used a baseball hat, I took away all those components necessary. Then I was able to, in the supply chain, use a way of making these shields that hadn't been used before in a mass production that is very, very efficient. So I was able to combine those two and come up with a shield that gets stamped out and ships flat, but then becomes a three-dimensional comfortable face shield at a very competitive price. So where it's made in the States and the tooling can be made quickly. It just all came together, and it's really a combination of what I've done academically and I've done work before is I call it differentiation by design, and it just came together where a lot of people looked at how can we mass produce all the components for the headgear. I eliminated them, and in doing that, I created the competitive advantage and an advantage for scaling that is now what we enjoyed.
That's very cool. Well, I'm going to let you get back to your morning. I really,
Okay.
really, really appreciate your time today.
Okay, Steph.
If you ever need anything, reach out to me or Jeff. We're here for you as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Have a good morning. Bye.
Yep, bye.